Today we're going to be diving into Compendium number 1 of
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Welcome to the Comic Compass. Thank you all for tuning in. This massive compendium carries the first 47 issues of the series, but is it really worth your time? Let's talk about it. Invincible was written by the one and only Robert Kirkman and drawn by Corey Walker and Ryan Otley, two amazing artists whose work you'll see truly improve throughout the series. The series was released in 2003 and came to an end in 2018, and it was adapted into an animated series in 2021, which introduced a whole new wave of fans to this awesome story. Kirkman's other well-known title, The Walking Dead, was also released back in 2003, just a few months after the release of Invincible, which is honestly insane to think about. To release two insanely popular stories, let alone in the same year, is almost unheard of, and just goes to show how great of a storyteller Robert Kirkman is. But believe it or not, Invincible wasn't always the powerhouse story we know it as today. For the first couple years, it was massively underselling. Kirkman has even gone on to say, if it wasn't for The Walking Dead's earlier success, and being able to put some of that profit into Invincible, the series likely wouldn't have even continued, which means we would have missed out on a truly fun story and some really awesome characters. Okay, so in this compendium, you're going to get the first 47 issues of this incredible series. From Mark Grayson, living life as your typical high school student, to him learning how to become the hero we know as... Alright, that was the last time, I swear. We get to see how Mark learns how to balance his life inside and outside of superheroing. Superheroing? Is that a word? I think it is. It is now. Either way, you'll see Mark go through ups and most definitely a lot of downs throughout his journey. And his father may or may not be evil. That's up for you to find out. We also meet a whole cast of awesome characters in this first compendium, such as Omni-Man, Adam Eve, Rexplode, Alan the Alien, the list goes on. There's a whole roster of great characters you'll come to meet throughout this first compendium. One thing you'll notice about this compendium and just this story in general is that it has a much more comedic tone than most of the superhero stories that you're probably familiar with. But that's not to say that the stakes aren't high and that there aren't some seriously dark moments, which, believe me, this series has some moments that you will never see in a DC or a Marvel book ever, especially later on in the series. Anissa, you'll just notice that the tone throughout is a bit more comedic compared to a Batman or a Superman or a Spider-Man type story. One thing that this book does really well is that each issue flows into the next very well. None of the issues feel out of place or like they get sidetracked doing something that doesn't feel very important. Every single issue flows into the next very well, and they stay on track the entire time. This story does a great job at making you feel for certain characters. The character development is really great. The attachment that you gain for certain characters feels real and genuine, and it becomes real easy to feel their emotions or put yourself in their perspective. And the brutality of each fight is unlike any other superhero story that you'll ever read. All this comes together to make Invincible Compendium number 1 an absolute unforgettable roller coaster of a superhero story. We get the early years of Mark Grayson's journey to becoming invincible. We see real relationships, good and bad. We see love, heartbreak, and a whole lot of bloodshed that'll leave you itching to pick up Compendium 2 and 3. So for $65, I absolutely recommend you guys go get your hands on Compendium 1 of